Hello, ugly. Good Lord, what is on your face, man? Ah, yes, animated Hulks. They are probably one of the worst units in the game in some people's opinion, but they do have a few things going for them. The main thing is 110 weapon strength is pretty good for the cost. Great AP damage. Here, this is a battle from one of my recent streams. Ice Power has gone with the million IQ play to chevron up his animated Hulk, so they have better sustained combat stats. 41 attacks, actually pretty good. 31 defense is not amazing, but in order to augment their defensive stats, we've also got Silostra here in order to put the Song of Enthrallment in an area of effect around herself. Doesn't actually have any spells. The spell casting will all be done by this fleet captain of vampires here with just Invocation of Nehek, so purely only healing. Got some deckhands with polearms, some handgun mobs as well, a few bombers up in the sky, and a couple of bloated corpses, because this was on one of my King of the Hills, and it was just a fun time. His opponent here, Wicked, awesome member of the community, moderator for literally everyone. Yeah, he's coming in with the not Grom skins. Instead, he's got Grimgore skins with his two troll babes. We got some Night Goblin Archers, a whole bunch, in fact, a rule-breaking amount of Night Goblin Archers. There's, what, like 6, I think, which is technically too many, but that's fine. Again, just sort of casual King of the Hill. Night Goblins, including the 8-peak Loons, got a bunch of Spider Riders, some Squig Hoppers. So it's a load of goblins, an absolute load of goblins. A handful of Orc Boys, Boar Boys as well. But animated Hulks. Let's see how they can do here. Bombers are going to come forward and start to bomb out the 8-peak Loons. Just some nasty shots right into the center that will probably do enough damage, maybe not quite, to prevent them from using their Fanatics. Remember, after many successive nerfs, buffs, and then nerfs, the Fanatics are still very strong, but they do have to be charged up in melee momentarily, and if the unit is below 25% HP, they will not be able to use them. So there is that. But let's see for the rest. They're just kind of pulling up slowly. Goblins are not the fastest. Only 35 speed is a little bit faster than average, but for infantry, but still not amazing. The Night Goblins, yeah, just getting rained out by bombs there. You know, the bomber infantry was nerfed some time ago, but the deck dropper bombers never were, and the fact that they can fly is pretty decent. I mean, they're still not great against any armored targets, but against low armored targets, especially if they can concentrate fire like this, can come in and just do some brutal damage, absolutely brutal damage. So we'll see. Right now, they're just trying to avoid the return fire of all these goblins. The handguns also significantly outranged the goblins. 145 range on those handguns versus 115 for the Night Goblin Archers. So they're going to get in range and start to return fire a little bit. But here comes some damned Knights Errant and Van Geist's Revenge. Yeah, I thought she didn't have any spells. Yeah, I must have actually missed that. Van Geist's Revenge. There it is. Oh, yeah, how could I have forgotten? This was just a few days ago. Just a brutal Van Geist's Revenge cuts through those goblins there. And as a result, they are going to immediately run away. The damn Knights Errant not even getting a terror route, just a straight up route. And one of them actually shatters. That being said, there's so many goblins here. The Night Goblin Archers are already doing a lot of damage. They've already got rid of one fleet captain there. Or sorry, the handguns. Sort of reading what's on the screen. The other handgun being taken out, but you see how Ice Power is just kind of keeping all of his animated Hulks in reserve for the time being, keeping them out of range of the Night Goblin Archers, just doing everything he can to try and clean up the Archers first. Song of Enthrallment comes in, puts those Night Goblins at 2 melee attack, so even the 20 melee defense of those deckhands looks pretty formidable when you compare it to that. More bombers out on the opposite flank, being rained in on the Spider Riders. Boa gets popped to counteract some of those melee defense debuffs and to just help the Gobos cut through the zombies that much quicker, but bombs. Bombs away! Grenades, all the grenades. And another Van Geist's Revenge going to be pulled up to absolutely decimate the goblins once again. Huge damage coming in from those ghostly cannons. Man, what's the ghostly pirate from Blackbeard? That's the one from SpongeBob, right? I forget. But anyway, Spirit Leech on the animated Hulks here. Not sure exactly what Wicked's been spending his Winds of Magic on with the Troll Hags here, but Grimgor is still very much healthy and quite angry, so he's going to come in here, start to cut up this unit of animated hulks, standing firm with one of the troll hags. The other troll hag kind of grinding on some halberds here. It's not super ideal, but at the same time, most of the zombies are crumbled away. There's really only this one pole arm left, and then all the animated hulks, right? And the other pole arms are all pretty low, definitely low enough that they can be crumbled out relatively easily. Some bombs left still too, and a nice invocation of the heck. I haven't seen too many of those, but that was a great one. Hit a bunch of high-value units in this area, or at least as high value as you can get in this particular army, helping those animated hulks sustain, get through those night goblins. Night goblins with the poison, not the greatest AP, but the fact that, you know, they have good enough attack, certainly, to get successive hits, especially with the high model count against the animated hulks, so that healing was necessary just to keep them topped up. And, of course, with the terror, that will be a good fight, but what is not a good fight is Silostra versus all of these boar boys, Grimgor himself, the troll hag also. There's some poison archer fire coming in from the Night Goblin archers, keeping Silostra poisoned, so she's only 43 speed. Everything here can keep up. She's taking a ton of damage from Grimgor and from the boars, which is really not great, but hulks are on station. That Song of Enthrallment also was debuffing, helping Silostra survive that much a little bit longer. The hulks come in and just mash these poor boar boys in melee combat. Boar boys have, what, 60 armor? It's pretty decent, but not going to hold up against that. 110 weapon strength with great AP. Silostra has been debuffed by Grimgor. You're next, and Mither both putting her down to only 5 speed. She literally cannot get away. But a MLG block from these animated hulks, they prevent this troll hag from getting into range momentarily. And they're also going to kind of box out the other troll hag here and not allow her to get at Silostra. Potentially also could get us around on Grimgor, but Silostra generally just needs to get out of the area and not be subjected to this any longer. But we'll keep it close because everyone wants to see River Troll Hag fighting animated hulks in melee, right? That's what everyone wants to see. Two of the ugliest units in the game just duking it out right now for our pleasure. So, you know, there's that. Goblins are rallying. There's lots of goblin archers rallying. And the thing here, I think Wicked is making a little bit of a mistake in that he's not prioritizing his archers on the animated hulks. Again, only 35 armor means it wouldn't take a lot of goblin archer fire to do enough damage to get them into, you know, an area where they're crumbling. They're less combat effective. They're not going to be doing nearly as much damage. But right now, in a surround like this around these Greenskins characters without any support, they are doing a significant amount of damage, even considering their cost. Like you can see Grimgor over here literally just getting circle beaten by dead fish ogres. Like, fish crab ogres. Yeah. I'm pretty excited for ogres, I have to say. Animated hulks are definitely a unit that reminds me of ogres, let's say. 110 weapon strength on only 750 points is quite solid. We'll have to look. I'll double check after the fact to see how much it is with the chevrons, but Greenskins are going to hit army losses. That'll be a beautiful victory for Silostra, and great job to Ice Power. I mean, both players were memeing. Anytime you take Grimgor, right? That is definitely a meme. But outside of that, I mean, I think this build's honestly not too bad. The Night Goblin Archers didn't end up paying for themselves in most cases just because their leadership was low enough. They took shock damage from, like, the Vanguard's Revenge. Yeah, 16,000 damage dealt, 258 kills. Silostra still didn't even break 2,000 damage value, so you know a lot of those have got to be cheap. Gobos, the polearms also kind of help hold out against some of the large in the late game. These, you know, troll hags and the boar boys, the squig hoppers, both of them didn't pay for themselves. Also, the bombers did pretty decently, but the animated hulks, man, 800, 1,000. I guess I'm almost surprised they didn't get more damage value there, but definitely were able to take out Grimgor in the late game and just provide some serious damage. Let's take a look. I'm just curious. How much are fully chevroned animated hulks? And, of course, you've also got the crabs, right? Which are less offensive. Well, you've got the two variants. So let's have a think here. So these are 1055. Okay, that's not too bad. Even still, you know, well, I guess one of them, almost two of them paid for themselves. But it is more than the 1050, just barely, of a Rotting Promethean. Let's compare them, since they're basically the same cost. So the Promethean has just less HP overall, which is one pretty big consideration. There's 3 less models and 1,200 less HP. So that 120 extra armor, like, yes, in some situations that will make the Prometheans functionally more tanky, but it's kind of a toss-up. The much reduced weapon strength and lower model count means just in general that the Prometheans' DPS is pretty poor. They do have 48 melee defense though, so again, they're not going to be taking as many hits. Hits that they do take will be somewhat mitigated by the armor that they have. They're a tiny bit faster. Less leadership though, and again, just less DPS. So if you're looking for damage from your monstrous infantry, which is not something that you typically think of when you think of Vampire Coast, but again, let's just go with it. If you are trying to get damage from them, then, I mean, even the Chevron animated Hulks are probably a superior option. Now, that being said, the Prometheans with the guns are much better. This shooting attack, I had kind of discounted at first, but it does do a pretty substantial amount of damage if they're given enough time to just kind of sit and shoot. Of course, they also have charge defense as well, which is another consideration if you're, for whatever reason, facing a faction that you think might bring some large high charge units against you, like knights or whatever else. They can be better against them, but it's interesting. Hadn't really thought to consider, you know, fully Chevron Prometheans being almost exactly the same cost as Prometheans, sorry, the Hulks rather. It does kind of bring up some interesting comparisons. You also have Mournghouls kind of hanging around here, but Mournghouls are so squishy, and interestingly enough, I mean, extremely similar to animated Hulks, just with kind of worse stats, but they do get the hunger regeneration in melee and a little bit of missile resistance, Vanguard. Very, very comparable though, and not going to be as good against, you know, kind of general targets. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.